Hello, I am the Ronin Pawn, and welcome back to a twitch.tv/Ronin Pawn live stream. I looked out, you guys start saying, oh, wow, it just went down. Wonder if he'll call the stream now or if he's going to get back online. I have no explanation for that. Oh, hi, Pawn. This is Major Exworth. Hi, how you doing? I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened on my end except for that XSplit suddenly started showing that I was encoding 0 frames and dropping all of them. Why? Why not? Alright. My internet was fine. I was still able to see your chat and everything. That's a new one. Just stop encoding the live stream, XSplit. Sure. You can do that. I mean, you can. Sabotage. Blame YouTube. I can't. Restream.io, and XSplit. And that's pretty much all that's in the line, at least from me to them. Probably XSplit, since it's locally saying, I'm not encoding any frames anymore. YouTube dropped out too, says Dramacian. 2-5. X-fail. Yeah, I'd say XSplit just had a moment. Anyway, the stream has stopped and points are now offline. You're welcome. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know, you're pushing a product, you're selling it. Yeah, that really actually kind of like blew my whole what the hell's going on here. I would very much like for this product to not be such a piece of shit. I would also like to be pumping out more than one of them at a time. Would be great for me, you know, one of them every other tick. So I really want to buy this square, I think. And then I can either do the easy thing and just pump in more of the goodies that we use to mix it, or I can try and get tricksy and be fancy and be smart. Which does not work out, usually, I will remind you. And move this out a little bit and try and like do crossing stuff and just continue using these two as the... I don't know if we'll even be able to fit that if we tried. Yeah, we might be able to. Yeah, when we got all this space, it's possible. Oh, hello! Pause the game because we've got some new ingredients. We just learned how to remove warts. And we can upgrade it to a female contraceptive, so I'm guessing the warts that we're talking about happens below the equator. You know what I'm saying. So we got some sex info in. Alright. Go to the ingredients. I'm going to fire at least one of these bastards. Oh. What are you... How are you not done? How... What? Go. Go and be done. You guys researching 2 places? Oh yeah, I was, wasn't I? That was the whole thing, Pawn. Okay, gimme. There you go. Now we got that one in as well. That was an antidepressant that causes memory loss. I already have that. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. We'll send you guys out to the final place. And I will fire one of you bastards, which is going to save me $50 a day. Antidepressant needs to be between 7-11 and it needs a certain catalyst in order to upgrade, so it's not the kind of thing I necessarily want to play with. Although, if I go down by 1, and then I hit it with another dissolver, that's 2 dissolvers as long as I mix it with the right catalyst first. Where's that catalyst? Who's got that catalyst? You've got that catalyst. So, I'm looking at antidepressant in the 2nd slot I want to protect. You go down by 1, you go down again. Down by 1 and down again, and that upgrades you to combats ADHD after being mixed. The way that I would mix you then would be, you would be the base, and in your current state, narrows pupils would overwrite soothes cough. So I wouldn't be happy with that. I have to rotate quite a bit. Would I need to shake it? I could shake this down by 1, which would move narrows pupils to the top, but put antidepressant there, and it would leave an empty hole at the bottom. And then if you were the base, then narrows pupils would come across. We would overwrite the thing that we need, which is cause them rant. Yeah, so that's a tricky one to do. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's finish what we're working on now, or rather, improve what we've already worked on. I want this space. I'm going to get this space. I want it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it because I want it. Rex Case, cheering 25. I used to make medicines for Big Pharma. Okay, there's a difference between explosives for, you know, your friends in Tijuana and pharmaceuticals. I've seen what's in your garage. I haven't, but I know what's in your garage because you told me. Look, I got a creamer. Hi, Rex. Thanks for the cheers. Welcome to the stream. I highly recommend Big Pharma. If you don't already have it, it is on sale right now for $8.49. You can get a DLC pack with it, bundled together. Both of them amount to $10 or so. It's way better than it's definitely worth a tenner. What did I read? You did creamers, and now I got 2 of you guys free. I could be a packer, or I could hire two more scientists. Fire my, yeah, let's do this. Let's get the autoclave started. Hire me 2 more of you. You guys start there. Production, or no, ingredients, rather. Tier 5. Congrats on Ford buying the railroad buildings, says Rex Gates. I heard a bit about that. I heard a little bit about that. I need to find out a little bit more about that, be perfectly honest. But, yeah, it's nice to see that building saved. That thing is, it's the gateway to Mexican Town. It's a historical site. It's been very controversial in the past, like, decade from people saying, we just need to tear that thing down. It's right on the corner of Rosa Parks. You know, we can build something new. And other people saying, it's a huge build. It's a castle. It was built in the era where things don't fall apart. You just need to put some windows in it and some money and refurbish it and stuff. And, I believe the last owner actually did, like, refurbish the first floor and maybe the second floor as well. And his plan was actually to open up the first and second floor of this old train building down in Detroit and start renting it as, you know, office space and that kind of thing, and then use the income from the office space in order to fund the continuing renovation of the location. But I don't know what the scenario was that Ford got involved and picked it up, but, you know, it's saved anyway. A News Lord asks if I'm going to cream. I'd like to. Are you busy this Saturday, or? Tier 5. Condos, says Jermacy. Condos? Was he gonna make condos out of them? The guy before Ford, he was gonna make condos? Really? That would have been fucking cool, actually. I mean, I couldn't afford them. Nobody I know could have afforded them. You, sir. I just bought 2 new scientists, which meant, it means $30 more for each of them per day. I need to fire you to get 50 back so that it's only a $10 loss. Also, by hiring them, I'm that much further from buying that 12,000 that I wanted. So I'm gonna speed up time a little bit. Look at how we crammed this building, man. We just shoved it in there and broke it off. I gotta say... What have I gotta say? Ice cream. I'm free, Pawns, says a new Slurdy. Oh, you are free on Saturday? Well. What if... What are the things that I've got right now? I go to the pack makers. Is it creamer in the pill printer? No, is it under advanced? Is it under basic? Is it under auxiliary? I didn't get the packer yet. I didn't focus on that. I was thinking, this is for, you know, what it is, 63 bucks. It's not a bad little thing, and it just goes through, and it makes me money constantly. What if I had, you know, opened this one up as a second source of the drugs, and then put packers in there, and, you know, just dedicated this building, at least temporarily, to making me, instead of $62, you know, $124. Which, it would probably saturate the market and wouldn't happen that way, but, you know. And I'm 16, says a loose lord. Hot damn, you're not legal. Alright. At least, there are places. We might have to go somewhere where you're not legal, because depending on the state of the union, you know. Basically, you can still be watching Dora the Explorer and be legal. Depending on how south you go. Tier 5. Close down the other lines in the other buildings, says Jermacian. Huh? You know what I might be able to do too right now, right here, that I haven't thought of is, make these things make more sense. You know? Some of this might have been done back when we didn't have the kind of technology we have now. For example, didn't I just get my way into... No, I started working on them. The autoclave and the condenser are gonna make this seem ridiculous. Like, right there? Right? Where are you coming in from? You come in from here, and then you go and you do that, and then... Like, I don't know if one of these triggers an effect or something like that, but from 8, by the end of it, we're at, what? 17. So I can do that in one move. Well, I can go to 16 in one move and then put one little thing on it. And massively reduce the cost of running 3 of these instead of just running one of those, one of the other things, and then one of the... That can be done. But for now, yeah, apparently I don't have the technology that I'd be looking for. And I gotta bear in mind that usually, it's actually cheaper to run 3 little things than it is to run one of these big guys, unless I've upgraded them. So it costs you $9 to run. The agglomerator is $29, so it's still cheaper to run 3 of these than 3 of these, well, those don't compare. What are you? You're a 10, so it actually is cheaper to run through 1 agglomerator than it is 3 of these guys, in terms of the amount of money that goes on now. But, have you kept up with the ionizers? Where are the ionizers here? There's an ionizer. Process cost is $32. So yeah, it's cheaper to run a billion of these than it is to run any of those. Because of the way I've set it up. I'm a boys as a new lord. I don't care. Gender is not an issue, you know? Whatever bits you got, I can work with. He's sounding a little too genuine here, isn't he? Goodbye all, enjoy your drugs, says Rex Gates, and watch out for powder explosions in the mixing area. Hello, big boy. Rex, we gotta get on a phone call and talk sometime. Soon. Not about anything in particular, just for the sake of talking. I'm gonna go ahead and do what I've been wanting to do, which is buy this area. I own you, bitch. So, we got this mixer happening up and over here, and now we can just kind of move it in there, and I think we can do it without even touching any of these. I'm gonna try. Major Lord Eggsbirth and Pony shared with me the secrets of the universe. Surely I can make them work. Highly doubted. So, we're going to take you out of there, and I'm gonna move you up here. Yeah, I'm gonna move you. Where are you gonna move? I'm gonna move you out of the way for now, because what needs to happen here is that you need to get the F out the way, and then if I move you up by 1, I can. Yeah, there's a lot of money just thrown away. I could do that. Ooh, we won't be able to get through there though. Oh, there's a problem. See, what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to pump out from this side as well and send you down here. That's what needs to be happening right here. And we've crammed this in pretty good and tight, I'd say. And if I do you like that, if I do you like that, you do me like that, come on, come. What if I did like this, and then you got hooked up like, and then there would still be room for you to go, but then you got to be able to come back somehow. I need that corridor free. I think we're just gonna move this stuff up a little bit further, is all. And then, if I did something like that, and then this would have to like come out and just make a run up along there and then do that, and then you'd be able to come out and head down into this this final area. Yeah, I think that should work. Let's hook that up and see. You know, now that I got money, gives a flying tip. Who gives a flying tip? We go in there, you'll come out like that. Move it to the other end of the space you just bought. I want to leave this open if at all possible so that I can use these two for something completely different, because if I get that out, and I can get this out, right? So you would go straight up there. Yeah. How you gonna get the, what do I need to be doing here? That's not an output. I was confused. I thought this was where I was outputting things. That's an input. I'm outputting them over here? That's the output for these drugs. But boobs, head, and blood. Knees and toes. Knees and toes. Move to the other end of the space you just bought. Let me just see what I can do here. I was confused there for a second. I think I can get away with a bit more. So, you need to be able to feed that, but you also need to be able to feed, like, another dude. So, This guy can totally feed that and then come off on the other end. This guy would need to... it's hard for my brain. I've seen the examples. I've seen them. If I had something going like that, you could feed him, you could feed him. That guy comes around from the back, and then you output in that direction. That works. Your output then can't go anywhere, though. That doesn't work. Okay? Shimata. Shimata. If I... Wait a second. No. Here's another better way to do it, maybe. Give me that multi-mixer, because I'm going to use it, and then I can drag it around and stuff. If I can move you back in here and process this up front, then I can pump it into there and then move past it as well. Is a possibility. You don't need to come in right there. You can come in wherever the guy tell you to come in, and you'll do it too. Like if I spun you, so he's more like that. You know, you come in over there, and then that goes up there, and then you output into there, and did that make anything better? I don't know, but. If this could be done down here, right? It's just a matter of I'll get you past there. I'm gonna get him past there. And do like that, and then I can output directly in that direction. But you gotta get past him too. You gotta pass him by. You gotta run him over, run him down. You gotta in the street, just kill him dead, kill him dead, kill him dead. This seems like it maybe looks like something that had been done in one of those things that you guys showed me. You like that. So, you could come up there, you could go in there, this guy could get to that, but then you can't get that feed out of there presently. Move him back a couple. I don't know. Figuring it out. Figuring it out. And then if you come back like that, then I can shove you through there. In fact, can I not just have this done, you know, where it makes the slightest bit of sense? When it's coming out of this guy. And then have both of these lines able to do whatever the hell I want them to, when I want them to. Like they should do. So you come around there, and then you come out, and that'll be this process in the way that I need both of those processed. Is there a shaker in there? No, there's not a shaker in there. Okay, nothing that slows this process down. Good. Come up, and then you need to get to... If you went to there, and you went to there, and then you had a 4-pass, and then you could turn into there. Or maybe you'd have to merge up here, but I think that could be done, and then... It's very confusing to me. One of these is going to have to do something weird, you know? At least one of them. Put you down here, and I can move you in a little bit more. Your outputs are going to have to feed into that guy, Vaughn. Okay, that's why they're there. So the outputs here are going to have to come out and come around and go down and hit you. Right, can both of them get there? Should be able to, yeah. So if I just planned this output line, so I have some idea what the hell's going on, go. So those two outputs can do that. You can receive, and will receive. These two go at the corner like that. You would seem to make the most sense doing this and this, and we're hoping that you go straight through on that one, and then this guy comes through here, and he goes up along this wall, turns there, hooks up to that, and hopefully goes straight through. It looks like it is doing that, at least by the, if you can trust that, and then like so. Right? So these get all processed the way they're supposed to be. They come out of here in a tight row. One of them goes along there, goes there. The other one goes through here and goes to that one. This one goes straight through and goes in there, and it goes in there. So we're mixing down two of them, and then we're exporting both of them onto the line. I can't live with the fact that there's empty space there. There's no reason for me to not have you there. Which means everything moves up. Ah, Jesus. That's not what I meant to do. Any reason why everything can't move up? Not a single one. Alright. Everything moves up. But it's figured, right? Maybe? So you move up by 1. Because you gotta come out and then you gotta turn and you gotta go there. Everything moving up. Moving on up. To that east side. Let's finally got a piece of the pie. Yeah. So you'll do that. You'll... What? What? No, that's not it. You are the export line. So don't do that. That's silly. A lot of wasted money as I try to figure out what is plainly obvious to everyone else. You go that and there and there. There's your output line. Output line. That's why you can't do that pawn shit. That's your problem. You can't move it on up from the east side for exactly that reason. Alright. Well, learned what I already knew in the first design. For the second time. You do like that. Yeah, no reason you can't do like that. But there was a significant reason why I couldn't do it the other way. So you gotta go in like that. You go straight through. Insufficient funds. Well, make me more money then. I never said that I knew anything about making money. So you do like that. And then you are a 4-way, and you go like that. Okay. Spend a lot of money to learn you were right all along, says Major Exelbert. Yes, indeed. So, you're going in there, just the way I want you to. You guys are coming out the way you're supposed to, hopefully. Because I shouldn't have broken any of that stuff. So, on this side, what merges, what's the base is the thing. I'm going to turn it down to regular speed so that I can catch up to it. Okay. Now, we're waiting on you. Go ahead and play. Go. Do the thing. Do the thing, please. So you go in there. You're going to be the first one to get any. Baby. No, you put them together before I knew what I was doing. I think that's probably what I had in mind anyway. Yeah, and then we break the causes fatigue off of it. That's what we're doing. Okay. So that's correct for it to be whatever that was. I don't actually remember. It seems correct. It seems right. So, you're gonna move into that one now that we're exporting through there. That'll let this guy pass and he'll go through there. And then you're like that. And then we start doing things. I hope that's right. I think that's right. Oh, hello. I don't think you're connected anymore to the output line. There you go. Oh, and you don't need to be like that. Okay. Okay, we're gonna feed this line constantly, and the other thing that I'd love to see happen now is for this drug to actually be more fucking worth it. You know? It's a lot of work right now, and I'm only making 48 bucks per pill. So I think what we want to do is either upgrade another one of these things, or add yet another, you know, thing to it. It will be nicer that we're getting, you know, double the flavor, double the fun with double mint gum. That will be preferable. Sure. Okay, that's why that's that way. Yeah. Okay. Look at that going. Couldn't I just spin that and put and then have it so that it just comes in? No, because that's the output and this is the input. Yeah. You ain't wrong. There you go. We now have a constant supply of this drug. That will go through one more of those and then be the drug that we actually do sell over here. Yes. So that's fine. We fixed that. Can we now improve this drug? Possibly by mixing it with something else. Like before we get onto this line, we could bring in another ingredient and do another 2-mixer kind of setup here, where we mix this with something else. Preferably that has the goodie in the top bit and the baddie in this bit, and doesn't over. Or maybe the goodie in that bit and then the baddie up there. Let's have a look at it anyway. We're looking for, it's got to overlap at 5. 5 is the number. Ice cream. You need another pill printer on that line pawn. Papadopoulos, you're right. pumping pop-up poople peoples. Alright, well let's get onto that, because I'm gonna have to like destroy a fair bit of this if we find at least the output end. From here on, I'm gonna have to rip it apart, clearly, if we can generate what we're looking for from here. Maybe I'll send it up and then bring it back kind of thing, instead of taking it down and doing it all over here. That would make more sense, and then I probably have room over there. So that's what we'll do. But first, let's see if we can't find something that matches the scenario we're looking for, which is back here. That's what I want to be thinking about. You're at treats diabetes, eases migraine. I want the good bit. If the good bit were actually in the top slot, and the bad bit were down here, but we're, you know, above 5 or 6. Above 5 is the lowest. That would work out pretty well too. Let's see what we've got in the inventory. So we're looking to replace the top and third down slot. Top one, and then the empty slot. What do we got? Anything that actually does that already? No. Anything that actually, like... No. No, every single thing that I've got, none of it does, like, a thing and then a space. Except for this antidepressant. We could process something to try and get rid of a side effect. To create that scenario where we've got a top and a space, which would mean... Can I get something that has it at least in the right place? I can't remove induces nausea. I could overwrite it. Put soothes cold symptoms in there. If I put soothes cold symptoms in, and the other one was the base, the one that we've already got is the base, then soothes cold symptoms would slot into the empty slot. Induces nausea would be overwritten by something else that's good, and we'd still have that one at the top, which would have to be broken off as it is. You have to break it off, you know what I'm saying? You don't? Okay, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. This would not be a good one to work with. You would not be a good one to work with, because prompt sleepiness would get saved. What would get saved? You'd go up, and then induces vomiting would get saved, and that comes off with an autoclave, and it's maybe even something that I'm already using in the friggin' formula. If I brought you to the top, and I used the other one, you're not in the range. So what's the good one here? Soothes cold symptoms, and then that overwrites that, and this is in the range of where 5 works. Yeah. Soothes cold symptoms. Turns into what when I upgrade it? Antibiotic. I've been making a lot of these. Soothes cold symptoms turns into antibiotic, which is active at 12 to 18, so we don't want that. We could just shove soothes cold symptoms on there, and it would be a net gain, and all we're doing is mixing the 2 drugs and passing them on. We'd have to do it twice in order to keep the line efficient. We'd have to have 2 mixers doing the mixing in order to keep the line, you know, doing what it's supposed to do. But those would be the only 2 things that need to be in the line. Yeah, let's do that. You need another pill printer on that line point, unless you cream it, says Major Lord Exelbruth. Oh, I'm gonna cream all over it. So, soothes colds. That's what we're gonna add here. Bring it in from somewhere up north. I can change it as it becomes apparent. Which one was soothing my cold? You. I'm buying a lot of this shit, because that's part of the ingredients for this whole thing. It's good, you know, I've got it coming in cheaper, but I may be, you know, kinda crushing the economy a bit. Come out of there, and then, yeah, I can't, I gotta fix that. We are losing money right now, too. Because of all the shit that we're producing and not doing anything with, and I'm about to, like, break it down. So, you're coming out on this side, let's have that come in on this side. Wait, I don't need to! Do I? I don't need to. Look at that. I've got one right here that is slowing down right at this mixer. I could just take you off, bring you over here, and mix them together. Right here, over here, where it's over here and it's right here. Here? Here. Huh? Sorry. Problem would be that that would get us back down to only using one of the mixers at a time. Right? Because this would be one would go in, and then the other would go in, and then other would go in. They wouldn't be flowing in two at a time. They wouldn't be moving fast enough. Do it, says Major Hazelbirth. Does that sound right? They wouldn't be flowing fast enough because I'm splitting that line. One goes left, one goes right. There's a space in between. We go into a mixer on this side, and then if we put in a second mixer, because that's what we were going to do to try and keep it flowing right. Could we add that at an earlier stage here? You know, what if I moved this whole mixer operation down? Brought this in before we started these two mixers and mixed it into the base thing once. Well, you'd still have to do it twice, Pawn. Or else you're not going to get the maximum feed output. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. Don't do it. Oh, yeah. Don't do it, says Major Exelverth. Yeah, that ain't... Yeah, that ain't the thing, is it? That ain't gonna do a damn thing. I don't have enough money to buy the mixers either, and until this stops, like, pushing shit along the line, or starts selling it, which is just problematic, isn't it? I need you making money for me while I'm solving this. So if I like moved you, what could I do with you? Get you to you know, something not stupid. What would I do if I were trying to do something not stupid? I still can't like fit another pill press in here to turn the corner or anything like that with the way all this is laid out. And nothing can move forward. It's all nice and tight in there. Yeah. Yeah. I'd recommend trying to see if you could do a more compact setup with those mixers. Huh. Nope. Nope. I found out. Answer's no. Can't do. Boy, that's a tricky. That's a tricky. Well, just, go ahead and bring it in and see what you can do. Like, the more that I look at it, the trickier it's going to be, honestly. Sure, if I move the pill press to the open area at the top, let that end be your export. That's a good idea. Now there's thinking for you. There's outside the box thinking. So you come over here, and then we'll export to you instead. Yeah. Friend, you friendly friendling friendington friendly. So if that's the case, can you take these out for me if you don't mind, and that one as well. And then the idea would be you go down here and you do that. You're doing all that down there. It could be routed to do it elsewhere, but I could try and do it up here, but I need room for the double mixers. So the idea would be instead to put you... Shit. You're gonna block off that one forever if I do it this way. There's nothing that's gonna be helpful from you for the rest of time. That's just a lost thing. I'm not happy about that. I'm not against it, particularly. I ain't necessarily against it. If you guys did export from here and start going up here instead and not even turn in that direction, I have to move this whole construction over here or loop it into there, and then thered be a little bit of something coming out. It's probably a lost cause anyway, Pawn. Just do it like this. It really does look like a lost cause, doesn't it? So this will go in here, it'll come out there, and then we'll start heading back up there, and that'll give us some more options, maybe, for our mixers. You might actually have to go over here for our pill presses, and then the mixers are probably going to be in here, and that's going to be yet another... Well, no, that's going to be the input for this, since we do need a full-fledged source of those. So you would come in here, you'd come out there, and then you'd actually go along here, because what I'm going to need is for these two, when they pump this out, they got to send up. So if you go out like that, and you go out like that, then you send up. Okay, so you both go out this way, and then you come up here, and then you do the mixing operation with those two, and then it's gotta be sent back down. Which means it coming down like that, and coming down, and then hooking up to this line down here. Can it be done? Yes. Is it thoughtful and make sense of, does it sense make? Yeah, if you want to say so. If you want to say it. I think that would get her done anyway. I can see it working in the last one. Bring the blue dust in from the top instead of the current port. Yeah. Yeah, Major Exelworth. In agreement with Germasian there. Okay, let's throw it all against the wall and see what we get. Just hate to lose all this when we're losing money, and I need money to build, you know? Maybe I should take a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, and try and make these things get over there. Have I got any pill machines handy? Left over. Vacant. Excess. I don't think so. Grab your, grab the pill machines. Pill printer. Put another one in there for 2,000. Reconnect this so that we can make a little bit of money before I carry on, because I am going to screw us over good and hard very shortly. You're going to have to come back along that line. This is going to involve so many crossing things. Swap the mixers to the lower end and the other equipment to the middle. So move these down here somewheres, and then Germasian, and then move these somewhere on the return path. I think I like that, because this whole thing is just, yeah, it's chapping my things. All of my things feel kind of chapped right now. Problem is, it's so put together, I'm gonna lose track of what the fuck we were doing, and I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. And we got all this money that's da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's just, like I was saying, take a brief break before we start, you know, tearing everything apart. And make some goddamn money. I mean, it doesn't bring in that much income, but just all of this that we've bought, it's gone a long way to do nothing. It's gone a long way to just end up doing nothing, you know, for us monetarily. So I'm going to let that go in there. I'm going to let you guys do, so you can finish a little bit. And what I will do to kind of stop the flow is, if I just stop this one, then I'll be able to start, you know, breaking things down and tearing them apart after we make the money back on what we've just purchased. That's my thought. You guys get out there and you do a thing. So you stop buying. And you stop buying. And just move everything through that needs moved through for now. Oh shit. Do you not push? New product. Why do we have a new product? I done fucked up. I done must have fucked up. Oh! Yeah, I see where I fucked up. I see where I fucked up. I fucked up right here. You need to go in, and now I don't have any money. No! What did I do? No! Fuck, I didn't... I just... So the way that you drop things in this mouse, you move over, in this game, is you move over an empty space and you right click. Also the way that you delete objects. So now I don't have any money to restore that line. And I don't have any money to build this line either. You know what? If I just let it back up, it'll start, because we won't be buying this stuff anymore. My profits will come back. And then in a minute here I'll be able to buy it and fix it. Shit. Yeah, it didn't get the second dissolve alright. Well, we're still selling a thing. Current profit is 57, it's less, it's negative 57 because of that one thing that we skipped there. There we go, we got profits, we've got money. I can rebuild what's broke. I can fix you, break you, fix you, fix you. That's what you're supposed to be making. You just push what's left, and you won't push when you're not... Tell me I got something. Tell me I got some piece of crap somewhere. Because I got a feeling if I put something on the end of that, then it would go, oh, I can push that now. What do you got that's cheap? We got this cheap and they'll probably need... Anyway, I should have a, analyzer. It's not cheap. But it's an input, not an output. That won't drive it, Pawn. What am I gonna need? I got the pill things down there. Give me the cheapest thing you got. You got a $600. Give me a dissolver. Dissolver doesn't... Yeah, it fits there. There you go. Will you push it now? There you go. I thought that's how that would work. Silly. Fixed belts force things to push in one direction, says Major Exilbirth. Oh, you can just, So that was under... I remember seeing that. Fixed belts. Converts a belt into a belt with fixed direction. Rotate to flip direction. Useful for complicated production lines. Okay, so I could have just popped a fixed belt on the end of that and forced it to keep moving. Alright. Well, this is, you know... Our profits are back. We're immediately back up to $10,000 just because I took a break. What do we got? Asthma sufferers. Whether or not this technology does what it promises, this is likely to reduce the demand for asthma medication. Is it homeopathy? New product hit the market by cleaning air in people's homes. Okay, yeah. I got you. I don't know that asthma is a big concern of mine presently. I just wanted to push some money through and refill my coffers, and I've done exactly that. What are you doing? Calming acid reflux? Huh? Inducing nausea? I was gonna say so, but I didn't want to be the first one to say it. Okay, we're out of product, apparently. No, we're not. There's still stuff moving there, right? Alright, you guys push the last of that through. Pick me up some dollars, some dollar bills. You were making boobs, head, and blood, which actually does turn a profit, so that's nice. These guys are stopped, and are going to stay stopped, so I can start building. Well, go ahead and just let your ingredients slide through there, Pawn. You guys go do whatever it is that you think you're supposed to be doing with your lives. And then what we were going to do is we were going to flip these, we were going to move these back here and try and get the mixers working on this end, and then take this whole construction and move it out there and have it be a less back and forth wasting space with a whole bunch of tracks kind of a system here. So, you guys, there you go. Stop. You're just going to have to go. You're going to have to go to get out of my way. Probably not all of you had to go, but I need thinking room. Lord knows. So you guys are going to... Shit. Just lay them out in order, Pawn. So it goes in, goes out, and then you're the next thing in that line. In and out. In and out. In and out. In and out. So from there, going like that. In fact... You can be more out of my way. That's how that's supposed to go once we get to that. Once we get past the mixers, that's what we're doing with it. So, goodbye. All of you. Clear it out. Can't be but no, don't want it. Never wanted it. Never liked any of you. You're all horrible, disgusting people. I prayed for your death, and what? Nothing. I didn't say a damn thing, did I? Did I say a damn thing? I don't think I said a damn thing. So if I brought you right down here, you'd be real easy to get to one side, and then you could take that off and go to the next one as well. Need to have that output clear so that he can go up with it. But I gotta get the input from that one in as also. They're only gonna output once in a blue moon, so they could cross over each other's paths like that, right? This would be taking the ingredient from here, which is something. God, I hope I can figure it back out when we remake all this stuff. You know what? Can I... If I took you... and I moved him down by 1, and then had you in there, I'd get even more space back. Yeah, so if I moved you down like that, and then took you out... Right? No? I was confused. No, that's right. That's right. So you would go there. Only thing is you'll be exporting on the line that was going to bring this in. If I instead go down this-some way. Perfect spot pawn, says Major Lord Exilbirth, and then I started changing everything. If I, so you come in, you go through that, you come over here, you go into this guy, you come out through there, you go into that dude, and then these two could cross like this, or where's another, is there another angle that doesn't stupid? That less stupids? Because if that's the export there, and that were, that's, I don't know. Oh, we've been going so long, and I just, it's a perfect spot. Oh, it's a good spot. Yeah, I think this was maybe a little better. That you go on like that, and then you come around and do that. Yes, you did. Now you have no idea what I was referring to. Actually, that's not something deserving of evil laughter. Blah. So this comes out over here, and then you do like that, and what I was doing before was like that. Yeah? So the source for this one goes boom, and goes boom, and then the source for this one comes out of here, it goes boom, and it goes boom, and then we put the export across that line as it's going, and then out here, and they both get onto, the same line in a hurry. That seems to work. It does, like, turn us up in a hurry, but we will have all this space out here. We can actually export over here and then go this way and then do some work and come back. Possible. Possible. Or we could try and leave that gate open. Or we could have all of the mixers down here, because originally, I mean, the whole concept here was to add in 2 more mixers, right? We were going to mix this, as this is coming out, in with 2 more mixers, so the other mixers go down here and then push it up there. Isn't that something we were doing? Because I've lost track. You were... Which ingredient were you? Shit. Forgotten entirely what we were doing. It was one of these. It was one of the... And I only got one of those. It wasn't Treats Diabetes, it was you, right? You were one of them. And then were you the other one? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I'm just, I'm trying to get by with as little brain power as possible on the 6th hour of the live stream here. So you come in, you get evaporated, and then you get ionized, and then you do that. Let me fix you. You have to come out like that? If I moved you back over, would there be any harm in doing it that way? No? Well, then just leave you there. So, up, and then doom, and then doom. What was the fucking input for this? The quartz, says Gervasian? Was the quartz here? I don't know. I'm gonna need your help, though. I'm definitely gonna need everyone in chat's help to figure out. If you gotta go back in the VOD, open up another tab, and figure out what the fuck I was doing with my life. It was Treats Diabetes and eases migraine were the 2 things. Wake up, Vaughn! Wake up! Cover it and put on makeup! So, Treats Diabetes and eases migraine, what was making it out. Treats Diabetes, eases migraine. Treats Diabetes, treats angina, treats diabetes, prevents acne. What were we doing? I don't remember going to the cures. Treats diabetes, eases migraine. Treats diabetes, eases migraine. So that's just that. And then eases migraine was coming from painkiller. Painkiller, and treats diabetes. Painkiller is probably the one then that that was going through the early process. So if I import painkiller to here, and then what the fuck was treats diabetes again? What did it start off as? It started off as treats diabetes. Okay, so I think that's those two. Does that make sense? Let's see. Painkiller needs to be 7 to 10 and needs to be evaporated, so we put it through, we send it up first. That doesn't seem right. Treats diabetes needs to be ionized at 10 to 12. And it starts out at 7. So that doesn't make sense either. You beat me to it, Pawn. Says Major Exelberth. Is that correct? Why is it doing that? We're taking it up by 1. Oh, because we were taking off the prompt sleepiness. So it does that and then it removes the ionizer. This is correct. Ah. So many layers of what the fuck. So you will then go in there. You will go in there. You will... You'll also head up there. And then you'll do that, and you'll go out in that direction. And then you will simultaneously head off in this direction. I don't see need in that space. He said. He said, you got it correct indeed, Jesus. I got it. I'm still here. What? Who? Remember when I joked Pony the next 3 hours of live stream? Catch me on the VOD. I was kidding. I was kidding. So, we wanted to add to that something. You know what? I'm gonna have to let it go ahead and run up to that point. Go ahead and run it up to that point. Okay, back to normal speed. So, treats diabetes, you want to be there, and then you're gonna be the one that overwrites the other one? Not entirely sure. Hey, we finished some research. We've got the cryogenic condenser. Okay, maybe we can get rid of some of this shit that I was doing. I don't know. But you come through, and you go through here. Okay, and you're gonna go in here, and then I need to pause when you enter that one so I can figure out what the base is supposed to be. Okay, well I didn't get a chance to pause. It did it before I could get to it, but I think it did it right. Certainly looks like it. So the base is, yeah, same on that one. Good. The bases are correct, and we got this coming out over here. So, what we end up with is Shu. Stop. We were replacing something that was in the increased blood pressure category, if I recall correctly, so it'll be in the 3rd slot. Other thing about the patents, I just remembered, if someone patents an antibiotic pill, it has no effect on other delivery methods such as antibiotic creams. Oh, cool. Tier 5, picture up on Discord as to how you had it, says Jermasian. Okay, thank you. I think we're getting back to this. So it was probably soothes cold. Yeah, that sounds correct, and it's right. It's in the correct range and everything. So soothes cold. We import you over here. Huh? We import you over here, and then I need more multi-mixers, and it's got to be 2 again. Because this is going to have to feed 2 multi-mixers, and you're going to feed 2 multi-mixers, and then we want to, like, output it up here, and then do all this shit up there, and seeing how many steps we had to that, maybe we can get away with a cryogenic... I don't think we can. Well, we'll see, but start with this. Another overlapping double system here. For Christ's sake. So I want you outputting up, would be ideal. Which would be like that. But you need to be taking your input from those sides, so take whatever you can get, Pawn. This one can come out and hit this guy. Give me 2 of them. Not with that little space, says Major Lord Exelberth. Well, I've put too much time in. We will have to try. We will have to accomplish. So... done. That goes straight across, this comes out of the mixer, goes across into that one, this one goes straight into that one, so we're feeding the both from the same side. This guy comes through and he hits that and he hits that. And the export comes along here and gets on the same export line with him. Tell me again what I cannot do! You're probably right, and I'm about to figure out why. I meant those cryogenic condensers. Doubt you could fit them in, but I could be wrong. Yeah, and even if I could fit them in, I don't think... I'm guessing the reason this is so complex is because it has to be done for changing things around. It's been so long since we started. Who the fuck knows anymore? But I'm just guessing. You'll have to come out like this. You'll have to go over to... I mean, you do want to do that, but no. No, not like that, huh? Not like that. Anyway, but like that. So you, best bet, I could bring you out here and use up a little bit more space in that direction. In fact, I could bring you out here. That's how I'm gonna do it. Right there. You gotta get out of my way. So you go in there, and then when you come out, you can get hit by that, like so. I'm gonna lose track of which thing is supposed to go which if I don't, you know, pay attention. Come out like that. You do that. You do that. A little bit better than we had before? Unless it doesn't work for some reason. So, this comes out. Are you connected? You need to come out like that and you go across. Then you go across, you go over to there. Input on that side. Then you come across to that, then you go in there. Then you do this little who's him what's it. Unless I could spin this one. Ice cream. Order you had it before was ionize, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve. Ionize, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve. Are you sure of that, Major Exelworth? Because I set them down in that order and I pulled them apart in that order. And now I've got ionize, dissolve, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve. I think you're skipping one because we have an extra here that needed to be somewhere in there. Ionize, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve, and I've got 3 dissolvers. This is another thing that just occurred to me. What if I did it that way instead? And then had you come out like that and like that. I think I was probably getting more space out of it the other way. Which would be to do that. And then just come across straight. You can actually come across completely straight. Come out there and make the turn like that. That'll work. Pretty sure that's what it is. Might have needed that other dissolver for something else with that new ingredient. Dramacian, are you still around? Because you got a picture up on Discord, right? Picture up on Discord as to how I had it before. You added an extra piece of equipment you didn't have before. So is it Dramacian? Can you confirm that it's ionize, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve? Because then I've got this in the wrong spizot. It would work better, actually, I think, if it did that. Well, if it did that, because then I could... Actually, if I did this... Yeah. And this extra piece was God knows what for. Yeah? 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 Was it? Okay. I'm gonna go on what Major Lord Exelworth is telling me. That's the way it goes. Ionize, agglomerate, dissolve, dissolve. Let's hook them up with belts. Ice cream. Correct, says Mason. Okay, good. Thank you, Major Lord Exelworth, for actually paying attention, because I gave up ages ago on that shit, buddy. So, let's bring it in and see if she does a do. See if she does a do. So you're in there now. I'm presuming with what this is that I need this to be the base. This would be the base, and then I'd overwrite that. There's no emptiness there, though. There's nothing empty there. There needs to be a space there if this was going to be the base. If it's not, then we got soothe cold symptoms coming in a slot that's not open, in a space that can't be removed. Something is afoot. Something is amiss. Am I using the wrong ingredient for this? Mason, can you confirm that I was using the ingredient that soothes cold liquids, or Major Lord Exelworth, as the thing that I wanted to do? I swear it was in this spot, and then we were overwriting it, is there something that I was doing? I can't remove that, so that would never empty that slot for me. Causes fatigue is removed with a 0 to 5. You're coming through here, you're just a painkiller. Induced vomiting is 13 to 18 with an autoclave, so I was never taking that off. Putting you up there was my ability, was my way of, was getting you to turn into Ease's migraine. You're going to lose Ease's migraine. Check your ingredients for a green in the 3rd slot. That's a green in the 3rd slot. Soothes cold symptoms. For one that was here and that was here, is that what you're saying? One that's got that there and then has that there to take it out? I don't think we had that. Other ingredients. Alright. Go and look again. It's gotta be something in the 3rd slot. That's why I assumed it was that one, because it was a green in the 3rd slot. And there are no other greens in the 3rd slots. And we were not planning on shaking it before. It's gotta be soothes cold symptoms. Can't remove the induces nausea. There's no green in another 3rd. The other place that's open right now is a green in the top. Not what's on the line. Sorry. Did we pull in, like, the wrong base? I feel like this was correct. I mean, what we were exporting was treats diabetes, eases migraine, and then we were going to slide something in here, and we lost whatever was on the top there. We managed to get rid of that in the process. So, is this just causes fatigue 0 to 5 with an agglomerator? Is this just, am I skipping a process between these two that needed to happen, where I take the causes fatigue off, and then how the hell did I possibly merge those two? You know? Because even if the thing was off the top of it, everything on the start is correct. Guess there was just an assumption that was overlooked. I swear we were already putting it together for a minute. We already had it working on a single output line. Increases blood pressure, soothes the cold, so, like, if this were the thing, then we would lose eases migraine. If I were to fuck it, because we've got room here to shake something, I could shake something and keep my main, you know, setup here. If I were to shake something, I don't know, maybe I've got room to shake something, but we can at least think along those lines, because I don't know. This doesn't seem like solvable. I don't know what the hell it was that I was doing, or what I thought I'd done. Never had the soothes cold symptoms in the previous setups, as Major Egglesworth. Well then, what was the fucking thing? I need something that has a space between it, right? That's the main deal. If this is gonna be like this, then I need something that has a space between it and I can shake it. That's what we gotta do. So back to the ingredients. It was something that has a single space between the two of them, which is none of them. Unless I used a chromatograph to take this one off. No, we've also got prevents gout. Causes dizziness is popped off by 1 up and then an ionizer down. Maybe you can combine them in a different order, says Major Order? Maybe. I'm gonna experiment with this. No, don't upgrade it. Why do you people still work here? Huh? Haven't you explored everything? You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You, Dave, I always liked you. You can stay. Salty grub mist. And if we pop that off, and then we jiggle one thing or the other, at least we'll have a space between two things. We can jiggle the other one. That's what we'd have to do. We'd have to jiggle the output of the first mix to get it down to where it would overlap this correctly. This has gotten well off the rails. Damn it! Quit upgrading that! No one gives a shit about Salty Grub Grub Mist. The fact that it's got the lower button is the button there, I know this is white, but it's just my brain says, this is okay. This is where you keep okay. Okay, minimize, close, expand, not okay. Okay. And I always click it. I don't fucking know. We might have to just abandon this live stream after all this work. Just say, to fuck with it, because it's gone so far off the rails I can't even like I can't see my way clear back to what the hell I was thinking about. You can pop both off, but that's going to take a bit more processing before combining. This is Mage Lord Exilbirth. Let's see. Let's see. No state of health to be fucking with this shit. What am I doing? Oh, you stopped that and you were gonna put the other thing on. Right. Import. Salty Grub Grub Mist. You come in, and you piss off all of you. And that's fine. Everything coming in from that side, it's just what you guys did. If you export, I will remove you. Okay, Salty Grub Grub Mist comes in. If we were to try and pair you with this fella, eases migraine and treats diabetes. The slot that his prevents gout is in presently is occupied by eases migraine, which is why we would need to shake the output of these, or shake the output here down to something else, which would mean rearranging the mixers, and the mixers barely fit as they are, and I don't know that this is something that I want to keep doing. I don't think that I'm still physically and mentally able to carry on with this. I think the reason that we are where we are is because I'm not at this point. So, I mean, I can't even remember what we were doing half an hour ago, let alone why we're still doing it. Prevents gout, if you know, it's either shake him 3 times or shake this once, but that means getting this output both of them into one place at the same time to be shaken, and then putting them back through these, and if I move this over one, then we don't have an export for these guys anymore, and then everything else has to be moved around, and I think that's the end of the live stream right there. You know, I've been pushing myself a little bit too far, I think, with the old 6-hour streams. It's just, you know, what you used to be able to do. What you used to get away with. It ain't what you can get away with anymore. And that's fine. I'll tell you what the, you know, there's a bunch of upsides and benefits to the failing health and failing mind and stuff like that. And I for a moment I thought, well, this is stupid. This doesn't really, like, help me. You know? Having CFS and having these, like, early onset, early age mental disabilities that, you know, on average you don't see until, if you see them at all, you don't see them until, you know, you start turning over 60, around there. I think it is 2.0. I'll send you a recommendation for a setup. I'm never going to play this game again. I thought originally, well, this is stupid. Like, what's the point for me? I mean, there's a lot of good things to be learned from the fact, like, when your mind starts to go and when you start losing your ability to think and process. You know, what most people need to learn, that I learned in Zen by looking at myself and observing myself on a daily basis, was that, you know, I am not my mind. And that was a complete 180 for me until that point, because I had always valued myself based on my mind. That was all I had. You know, I never went out and made a bunch of money. I never went out and conquered the world. I was, you know, my value to society, my value to myself, what I prided myself on was the fact that, you know, what's in here? And because of that, that became what I identified with as me. And the necessary reality, the necessary consequence of having your mind slip, and you can't do the things you used to do, and you can't think as clearly, and you don't see things, just look at them and go, oh, well, obviously, and, you know, having that happen, especially at a young age, but regardless, makes you confront the reality that I can't be my mind. Or at least I sure hope I'm not my mind. You know, you can just be your mind. But if you are, well, good luck with that. It's nothing to be proud of anymore, is it? Like, when it was something to be proud of, then sure, I'm my mind. Yes, I identify with my mind. My thing was, I already learned that lesson at a Zen center, you know? I didn't have to have my mind slowly eaten away by me to learn that lesson, but it's a good lesson that is often learned by human beings later in their lives, when you have to start recognizing that if all I value myself as is my thoughts are just, you know, I don't have the kind of authority over them that I used to think I had, and I can't corral them and make them do what I want as easily anymore. Zen very, very distinctly and easily and just obviously teaches what should be obvious to all of us, but usually isn't, because we have that ego-driven, like, need to exist, and be solid and firm and be real, and identify with ourselves and this body and this mind and everything like that. Zen points out what is very, very obvious once you realize it, that you aren't your thoughts. Your thoughts are like your heartbeat. Your thoughts are your friggin' gastrointestinal system. Your thoughts are the movement of your lung. Like, the fact that we as human beings have identified with our thoughts specifically and said, this is me, is really fucking ridiculous when you break it down like that. Why is, you know, the electrical activity up here more than the pumping of the blood here, or the oxygenating here, or the pooping going on down there? It's a very specific, very ridiculous kind of conclusion we've drawn, because it reinforces the idea that I am solid, I am real, I am my thoughts, I am my identity. It reinforces our idea that we are individual selves, separate from everything else. And it's very obvious once you look at it like that, isn't it? You know, is a bicycle only a bicycle because of its chain? Because of its pedals? Like, all the parts need to be there to make a bike, but we identify most strongly with our thoughts and our emotions. And the other thing that Zen teaches very, very clearly, I'm giving you Zen because, you know, we missed Wednesday. I didn't do Zen on Wednesday anyway. This is kind of my cool down. Is that your thoughts and your emotions, when you sit down on a Zen mat, it's not that Zen teaches this. Zen just teaches sit down and shut up and you'll learn. And that's how I learned, was sitting down and shutting up and sitting on a mat for the sake of sitting. And what you eventually, like, when you slow your mind down enough that you're not just inundated with your own bullshit constantly and remembering your songs and your movies and thinking about how horrible this is and why am I here and all that kind of shit, eventually when you just sit there, you start to see yourself clearly enough to recognize that the thoughts that are coming into your head are not you. They're not you any more than the wind is, you know, that blows the clouds. The clouds overhead are you, which, in a sense, they are. But there's no reason to identify with your thoughts, any more than you'd identify with your emotions. People in this culture tend to identify with their thoughts more than their emotions, right? Why? They're both part of this, but you think that your thoughts and your ideas are more solid and more stable, and I'm going to build, you know, this is the foundation upon which I'm going to build my own identity in my life and value myself. It's stupid, is what it is. It's rather silly that we've picked just the thoughts and said, you know, my thoughts, my opinions, my ideas, these make me. Okay. You realize the clouds overhead, they come and they go. You know, they're here, you see them, you interact with them, they cast shadows on you, it changes the entire world, those clouds overhead, and then they're gone, and are you, like, remembering the shapes of the clouds from yesterday? They're insignificant. I mean, they're as significant as everything else, which is to say, it's all one thing. Why do you focus so much on the idea, you know, on your thoughts as your identity? It's stupid. Your thoughts are just as much a fleeting, passing, momentary object as anything else. As much as your emotions, as much as the clouds overhead, as much as the sun, rising and then setting, you know? Sun's here and then sun's gone for a while, and sun's here again, oh, sun's behind clouds. I wonder if it's disappeared forever. No, it's still there. We draw our identities based on that and on our thoughts, and it just makes no sense, logically speaking. You don't need any religion or spirituality or Zen practice to tell you that, but it certainly does help you see it straightforwardly when you experience it yourself, when you start living through your thoughts in your head as an event that isn't you. You know, when you start seeing the thoughts come in and recognizing, I don't have to obey or behave or respond or become anything that my thoughts want me to be. They're just thoughts. They come in, okay, and then they go out. But we are so sort of self-trained and societally trained to grab onto all of them. Grab onto every single thought and interact with it. Why? Because we think they're us. We think that's us. We think that's the identity. That's my identity, is those thoughts. So when a thought comes in, it's my thought, and so I can't not identify with it. I can't not interact with it, but you can. And by sitting and shutting up and watching the things that your thoughts do when you have nothing to do but sit on a mat and breathe, it becomes very apparent, like, what's going on there. That this isn't me. This thing that I've always identified as being me, as being the source of my identity, isn't. It can't be. It clearly isn't. I think things, and then I just let them go out the other end, and it means nothing to me. But that was an experience that I had to sit on a meditation mat to have. Because for the entirety of my life as a sentient being, from the age of sentience, as a human being, I constantly identified with my thoughts and valued them above every other part of what could be considered me. And whenever a thought came into my head, I immediately thought, that's my thought, and this must be how I feel, and this is how I'm going to act on it. And I just, responded to it as though it was just me. Recognizing that you're not your thoughts empowers you to be anything and anyone and in the universe. And it also, happens to be fucking true. As is plainly evident through, common horse sense. We are our minds, and there is no shame in your mind starting to slip, and there is in than there is in losing a limb. We are not our minds. As should be plainly fucking obvious. I mean, you can say we are experiencing everything through our minds, but our ideas, our opinions that we've shaped about the world, if you think that that is you need to sit on a mat and be quiet for a very long time. Because what you will see, guaranteed, what you will see is a mind that is definitely not you. And you will learn to just let those thoughts that come through and go out the other end. When you don't interact with them, when you don't play with them, you don't build on them, when you have a thought coming in your head, that person was an asshole to me the other day. And you're just sitting there with a mantra, or, you got your mudra in hand, and you're just sitting in there, and you've been training for a while, and you just let that thought come in. You don't stop it at the door, you don't try and keep it from coming in, you just let it come in, and then you let it go out. That was the end of it. That was completely the end of it. You had that thought, nothing wrong with having that thought, but what you didn't do was get sucked down into a rabbit hole that goes on for 15, 20 minutes, about, yeah, that person was an asshole. As a matter of fact, if I saw him again and a similar thing happened, this is what I'd say to him. And you know what? Next time I see that person, you didn't do any of that. Your thoughts didn't control you. Your thoughts came in and they went out. Like a sneeze. Thoughts are on the same level as a sneeze. You feel it coming on, it comes on, then you sneeze and then it's over. But we grab onto our thoughts and identify with them and think of them as ourselves and say, this is what I am, and this is what makes me valuable, and this is everything. And then we have problems. Because we've fundamentally misunderstood the nature of ourselves and the nature of reality. No one would say that, that these temporary fleeting things, a few people would even acknowledge that emotions are ourselves, You'd say, I am my mind, I am my thoughts. But, okay, are you your emotions? Well, no, my emotions, sometimes you get upset. It's not something you have control over, it just happens to you. Thoughts are exactly that. Not something you have control over, it just happens to you. Just like emotions. A thought comes in. An emotion comes in. You can't not feel the emotion, you can't not think the thought, it comes in. That's the nature of being a human. That's the nature of being a sentient being. But that doesn't make it you, you know? Other things come into you too. Oxygen, food, air, water, disease. Doesn't make it you. It doesn't make it something to identify as, this is me. I could, you know, deepen that as to say that the true reality is that everything is you. So yeah, it does make it you. But the problem isn't. It's that we so strongly identify with this one tiny pocket of our experience and of our universe and of everything that is known, as though that is us. To the exclusion of everything else. And identify with it, and we just get dragged around by it, you know? Somebody's being dragged around by their emotions, it's clearly obvious. And you go, oh god, he's got like anger problems, he's emotional, she acts like this, like, all the time, and she's just, god. You say that, but then you see somebody who's like constantly like thinking, always coming up with the next thing, can never just slow down and stop and be, and people rarely like look at that and nose down on it, you know. God, he's always thinking, he's always got an opinion, he's always, I mean, we do, but it's way more tolerable somehow. We've got like these different rule sets for that one thing that we identify as our human self, and then all of the other things that we've decided aren't. Everything else that we've decided isn't. As Russell of the Gorillaz said in that song, Clint Eastwood, you don't see with your eye, you perceive with your mind. You perceive with your mind. And that is why it's so easy to get confused and think that we are, you know, our minds. Because that is the device through which we perceive everything. And, you know, I feel like everybody in this, you know, people in this community, like, naturally resist me because they think I'm talking some spiritual, I'm talking about, like, a soul and a created thing. I'm not. I'm not talking about any god, I'm not talking about some soul. It's not asking you to believe in reincarnation or follow me to the fucking Kool-Aid and we're gonna drink it all and go down the poison. It's not at all what I'm talking about. And the reason that I think, you know, like, you think the reason I say this, I feel, that's how I feel. It's how it feels when I start talking about that. I feel like you guys are thinking that I'm saying this one thing, and the reason why, like, what I think is the reason why you think that I think this, is because you're so desperate to maintain that delusion of who and what you are, because you don't know what you'll be if you're not that. What am I if not my mind? Wouldn't that be terrifying? And the answer is no, but from the perspective of someone who is caught in a delusion, yeah, it sounds terrifying. It sounds horrible. What am I going to find out that I actually am if I'm not just my mind? If I'm not just these organs connected to this lump of fatty tissue with some electrons floating through it? What am I going to find? What if I don't find anything? What if I find out it's none of that? It sounds scary. What it is the ultimate liberation. To recognize what you truly are and what all of this truly is, and see how it all hangs together. To see that there is no boundary between anything. And then to be, like, really confused when you hear people... I have so much trouble these days. I told you earlier that I went looking for little Zen Dharma talks, and I was just disappointed. Because it's like... I'm looking for peers, you know? To be honest, I'm looking for peers. I'm looking for people who have some semblance of understanding that is here, that I can just share with. You know, it's lonely without peers. I'm looking for peers, and what I'm seeing, you know, even from the Zen community, people in robes and shit, they've probably been in the temples for 20, 30 years, is I'm just seeing, like... If you get it, I don't know why you're not showing that you get it, because I look at you and I smell it, and I see it, and I hear it in your voice. You don't get it. You're not there. You've gotten off on a tangent that is convenient or comfortable for you, or that fit in with some previous stuff, or that you wanted to believe, or that's some spiritual mumbo-jumbo nonsense soul reincarnation bullshit, and you traded one delusion for the other. And, you know, you're in Zen, so you're practicing every day, and that's good, because with the practice comes clearer mind and comes the ability to actually perceive and see through this shit eventually, and you know, you slow things down, and it's not something you have to try for. If you're trying for it, it doesn't happen, but it's lonely, and it's also a little bit, like, flabbergasting. Which it shouldn't be, because until I met my Zen master and sat in this temple for 3 years and then left the temple and then had life experiences and had further awakenings through, you know, what came out of the seeds that he had planted, and that being at the Zen Center had planted in me as they spread it. Before all that happened, I was in exactly the same boat. But it's the kind of thing that once someone tells it to you, which can't be done. So maybe I should say it's the kind of thing that once you see it, it's so fucking obvious that it blows your mind. Regardless of the fact that you didn't understand it yesterday, it just ends up blowing your mind that everyone doesn't perceive this as it is. You can have a thought that doesn't directly represent you, but everything you experience is processed through thought. So to say thought isn't you really doesn't really make sense. A thought maybe, but thought in general has to be you. That's the problem on the Edge, is the identification with your organs as you. You know, there's a mind through which you process everything. There is a mind through which all of the skandhas come in. Skandhas are basically the words for your senses in Buddhism. That's where, yeah, your information is all filtered through that. And all that information is a lie. We know that just from physics. So we start from the premise that what we've identified with as ourselves is experiences that we're having that are delusions, because they have to be, because our eyes only show us so much. People see different things differently. People see colors differently. People's eye shape is different. You know, we only agree on some general norms, but when you're outside the norm, the world is a completely different place. So everything you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, everything that comes in through the senses is, by scientific definition, bullshit. It's not a spiritual premise. It is electrical impulses that have been turned into something based on an imprecise organ that has come about via evolution, not for precision, but for survival. So what you see and what you hear and smell and taste and touch is not what is. It's a representation of what is, that is then filtered through your mind, which then becomes another layer of representation of the representation of what is, and is then colored by everything that you think and you know, and your opinions and your ideas, and especially your identity, how you see yourself, what you decide is you and what you decide isn't you. So, I don't know, I guess, you know, respect for the fact that if you do identify with that and you hear that and you're like, yep, that's it. I guess respect for, you know, that you kind of like hardcore, like, that doesn't bother you. But it's not a matter of whether it bothers you or not. It's a matter of what actually is. Like, what you see and hear and smell and taste and touch and what you think and feel and all of that is an illusion. That is just absolute truth. There is, however, something real. There is, however, something real going on. There is something that's actually happening. Even though you can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, feel it, think it. There is something real. And basically, the knowledge of what is real and how you fit into it is what, through sitting in meditation, eventually comes about. Not through an understanding, not through an intellectual, okay, I've got words for it now, okay, I can write it down in a book. In fact, you know, books have been written about this subject for thousands of years as people who have had these experiences tried to explain it to others because they want to share it. That's what's so frustrating for me. It's not that I'm like, God, these fucking idiots around here. It is a little bit that I'm kind of lonely. I'd love to be able to talk to other people who got it. but more so it's about, you know, looking out and seeing all these poor souls who are suffering for no reason. Suffering for no reason, who are actively choosing to suffer, to basically punish themselves on a daily basis because they don't know any better. Because they've been taught it by a world around them. It's been reinforced that this is how things are, and this is how they should be, and this is what we are and who we are. Don't overlook what I said, Pawn. We are our minds indeed. Are our minds our brains, says Major Lord Exelberth? Okay, I can give you that. If you want a, the thing is, we're not really that, though. It's definitely a higher level of understanding to acknowledge that, the electrical activity in the fatty corpuscles of our brains is not necessarily what, you know, everything that goes into the mind in a universe that is, you know, quantum enabled, and quarks and shit, and signals on subspace levels, and teleporters, and TNG. That is a step up, but at the end of the day, we're still not our minds. Our minds can tell us nothing but illusion, and there is something real. And, you know, the closest that I think I've managed to come to saying it, is a whirlpool abides in a river. A whirlpool abides in a river. And the whirlpool looks up, sees debris passing overhead, and it reaches out, and it grabs it, and it pulls it down into itself, and it whips it around, and it plays with it, and then when it's done with it, it takes it to the bottom, and it spits it out. And it celebrates its power, you know? Look at what I just did. I grabbed that, I took that down, me, the whirlpool. I grabbed it, and I pulled it down, and look at this, and I consumed it, and then I spit it out when I was done with it. I am the whirlpool. That was me. I am free to move about this river. Look at me move this way. Look at me move that way. I, the river, distinct, separate, individual, and unique. And of course, you, I, and the river know that there is no whirlpool. The whirlpool is just the water flowing from upstream to downstream. And at that particular point in the river, all the other water and everything else in the river causes an effect that causes the water to swirl. The water comes in from upstream, it swirls down, and it goes out downstream. Yes, the whirlpool, it'd say, well, I look in the mirror every day, and I see a whirlpool looking back at me, and it looks exactly the way that it did yesterday. I am this whirlpool. Even if I am made of just the water, this is my water until I'm done with it. But we know that's not true. The water comes from upriver, comes into the water, the whirlpool, and swirls down and goes out. And it's doing that every single second. Every single moment of that whirlpool's supposed existence is borrowed from the energy of everything around it. The river sees the whirlpool celebrating its self and its individuality, and it smiles. A wry smile. Because, yeah, that's probably how it seems, isn't it? But the truth is, you're just what I do. You're made of the water that is within me that I contain. And you are as I am because of everything that I am. Now there's some hard shit right there. That's basically fatalism. That's what people would call fatalism. But that's the truth about the whirlpool. You know, forget the metaphor of it for a second and just say that is the truth of the metaphor, or the truth of the whirlpool. The whirlpool doesn't exist. The energy is always coming in and it's always going out. It's not a stopping point, and the energy and the water that the whirlpool thinks that it contains and thinks that it's it, because it's so solid and it sees it in the river, it's not. It's different water. Every single moment flowing through, in and out, in and out, in and out. And of course the metaphor, in case it's been missed, is That is exactly what this form is. We look in the mirror every day, we feel ourselves, we see our own hands, and we see, look, see that? That little injury mark right there? That was there yesterday, it was the day before, I don't know where I got it, but a little injury mark there. I look in the mirror, I see basically the same face every day. A few more creases, more cracks, I see that. I feel my body, it's basically my body. Gives us kind of that impression that we are whole and unique and individual and separate from everything around us. But the truth is, the only reason that we are, like, what this is a whirlpool, a momentary stopping point for light and air and food, by the way, all the energy that's come up from the earth that you consume. And, you know, we look at it the way the whirlpool looks at it. I reach up and I grab the debris and I pull it through myself. Look at how powerful I am. Look at how individual I am. Look at me. But the truth is, the food that we eat is us. We don't take the food in and then process and digest it and then shit out what we didn't want, like the whirlpool thinks that it's done with the leaves that are passing overhead. We are that energy. We are a constant stream of energy, and every day, every moment, every femtosecond, every single portion of this body is changing. Every single portion of this body is new. Not just, oh, every 7 years all your cells decay. Electrons moving, atoms floating, every single movement, what seems to be solid and real is not. I got a scar on my face from where the guy broke into my house and all that fight and everything like that. I got a scar on my face. That scar makes you feel real, doesn't it? Makes you feel like, yeah, this is long-lasting, this body is mine, and I'm stuck with anything bad that happens to it. And that's you know, it's not untrue in a very human sense, but in a larger sense, you are just the fucking light of the stars that happens to be swirling on the earth right now. And there's no explanation for that to be anything else. If you believe in science, in the easiest, most comprehensible end of science, then you have to acknowledge that. You're not this. You know? This is borrowed and this is changing every moment that you believe you inhabit it. Every moment that you believe that you are it. So where are you at that point? Dust in the wind, all we are is dust in the wind. It doesn't make me not an individual. What you are saying assumes there is some greater connection between all things that doesn't necessarily exist. What I think in the time that I think it might very well be the beginning and end of me, says On the Edge. What you are saying assumes there is some greater connection between all things that doesn't necessarily exist. That is... Let me point something out to you very scientific. Everything that ever has been is from everything that ever was, and everything that ever will be is from everything that ever has been. At the beginning of the universe, all energy that ever existed, existed. Nothing has been added to it, nothing has been taken away from it, nor will it ever be. That is the nature of the universe. That is the nature of Newtonian physics and thermodynamics. That is a known quantity. The connection between everything, scientific fact. You don't get to exist independently from anything else. The air you breathe allows you to exist, but you aren't really breathing the air. The air is moving into you because it's what the air does, and your body is doing what it does with breathing the air because it's what your body does. Everything always has been and always will be. And when your body and your mind and every part of your identity is dead, the energy that momentarily, temporarily stopped off and had a little, snack at the diner and called itself you, will carry on its merry way into eternity forever and always. And that is not a nursery rhyme or a religion or a spirituosity. That is science. That is thermodynamics. So you're saying we are just made up of stardust and our thoughts are the results of a random series of events, so they don't really mean anything? To an extent. To an extent. Our thoughts are, yes, random. They don't define us. Our thoughts are not random, really, because nothing in the universe is random. It's all random, but nothing of it is. Everything is connected to every other thing. Every event that's ever taken place took place because of every other event before it. Every movement of an atom is because of every movement of each atom before it. So everything is connected. It's not that it's random, it's just that it doesn't mean anything. You know? Our thoughts don't mean anything. They're our experience, and that means that they're important because it's what we're doing. And it's not that I'm trying to, like, take the piss out of existing or take the piss out of life or try and make somebody go, oh, God, that's so depressing. No, it's just once you put that in the proper context in yourself and recognize that your thoughts don't actually mean anything, they don't identify you, it's just the experience that you're having, things are so much nicer. You know, you don't have to worry about thinking the wrong thing. You don't have to worry about your identity when you recognize that that isn't who I am. That's just what's happening. The sun came up this morning. Is that who I am? My heart is beating right now. Is that who I am? A dog barked somewhere else. Is that who I am? And the answer to all those questions is no and yes. And that's the dichotomy of Zen. Because the important thing is to, like, put it in the proper context and recognize, you know, where you stand in the universe, what this small experience you're having is right now, and that you are much larger than it. Because some people look at that, you know, what sounds a fatalist idea that everything that ever has been and everything that ever will be comes from everything that ever was, that every atom that is moving right now is moving because of the atoms before it. It sounds like, well, then at the beginning of all time, every single thing was decided for us. The words that you're saying, the fact that I'm still watching this fucking live stream, when you've been going on about Zen for an hour, after giving up on Pill Factorio over there, like, I have no say-so in my own existence and that kind of thing. You look at it and you see the fatalism in it, and you see and it feels bad. And the thing is, you can look at that exact same principle and just spin the coin around, because that's a valid interpretation. Yeah, well, it doesn't look like we actually have any control over anything that's ever been, because it's all connected and everything moves because of the way everything else moved. So, yeah, maybe we've determined fate. You know, we're just living through what's already been assigned to us in this universe. You can then spin that coin if you have a different mind about it. Same exact coin, same general premise, and see, oh my God, I am eternal. I was there at the beginning of everything, and will be there at the end of everything, to which there is no end. Because energy is eternal. I am that energy. I am connected to every single thing. This experience that I'm having is just one small perspective in my greater fullness. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Lord Almighty. I have always been and will always be. And right now I'm experiencing all of this from the perspective of a fingernail on what is my true body. And it's enjoyable. Or at least it can be, once it's in the right perspective. But so many people spend so much time suffering without that perspective, and it's a perspective that you cannot truly be told about. I could sit here and talk about it all day, and I love to. I would love to. Would you like to buy me a drink? I absolutely enjoy it. But, you know, somebody says some words, even if you, like, completely understand it intellectually and go, oh, I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that does sound about right. Experiencing the oneness is entirely different than conceiving of it, than acknowledging it, than saying, yeah, that sounds right. And that is what Zen is about, and that is why Zen doesn't really, you know, there's Dharma talks like this, but it doesn't really teach. It doesn't break out the old books and say, you know, here's what you need to learn. Because the truth is, all of your thoughts and your ideas and your opinions will just end up getting in the way of you actually experiencing the oneness, the truth, the connection to everything that ever was, the connection to what is your true self. You know, it works in two senses. I paint the picture of the whirlpool being alone and believing itself to be, you know, something individual and independent, and the river is laughing at it because it's got such a small perspective on everything. But imagine if the whirlpool woke up and realize that it is merely the water in the river, that the water in the river is constantly passing through it, that it's always part of it, that it's never the same, it's always changing. Imagine if the whirlpool woke up and realized that it is the river, that it is the water. I'm not a whirlpool. I'm not this small little thing that's temporarily, perceiving existence in this way. I am the water. I am the river. It goes both directions. You feel small and alone. You feel enormous, all-encompassing, everything within you. Not connected to you. Because that's another objective, subjective perspective. That's me as an individual. And you're connected to me in the center. I'm connected to you, and maybe you're the center, and I'm the object, and you're the subject. No. Not connected to anything. Am. Everything. I think where I have a problem is you are referring to yourself and saying you aren't your thoughts, but there is still you as the subject. Oh, lovely that you brought up subjects and objects before I started talking about them, because that was earlier. So there's nothing to really replace the you with in that equation. Like, maybe my thoughts mean nothing and I'm just matter that will move on, but then the me is still my thoughts, etc. And after that, then there will be no me left. That's the delusion. That is the delusion, and that is the fear, and that is the suffering, where it comes from, that there will be no me left when the thoughts move on. But that conclusion can only be drawn from the starting point of I am my thoughts. I am this experience. I am this perspective. I am this subject in an objective world. I'm not the river. I'm not the water. I'm me. Like, identifying with the delusion of yourself, of the whirlpool, is what causes the suffering. When you recognize how everything you are. My Zen master used to say, you are not everything that exists. You are the empty space into which everything that exists appears. In other words, you are not yourself. You are not everything that you see. You are not all these seeming objects. You are not all of the things that someone might say I'm connected to. You are not those things. You contain all of them. That's what you are. You contain all of existence. The empty space into which everything that appears to be. But that is a teaching that I'm not sure if if the language doesn't resonate with me, or if I just haven't had that experience yet to completely understand what he means when he says that. But I think, I mean the same thing when I say you are the river. And the river contains the water. And the water does things. And we look at those things and we draw boxes around them and we give them names and we give them identities and we say, well, that's a this, and that's a whirlpool, that's a rock, that's an eddy, that's a tide, that's a turtle, that's a fish, that's a this, that's a that. These are all ideas and boxes and names that we've given to everything in order to separate everything that actually is. But every single thing that exists is purely energy. Vibration. Energy vibrating at a different wavelength. No such thing as a photon, an electron, an atom. I mean, there are, conceptually. There are, in observing their behaviors. But they are not unique, independent entities. Every single thing that can be observed in this universe breaks down to pure energy. Some of the energy does this. Some of the energy does that. Some of the water makes a whirlpool. Some of it rushes down. Some of it crashes against a rock. It's all water. Everything is just energy. Everything is just vibrating at a slightly different frequency. So the energy is, what do you got here? it behaves differently because of its nature, because of where it is, because of everything that's around it, because of how all of the other water, all of the other energy is moving in the universe, because it's interconnected with everything. And we observe those, and we can measure differences and see differences and say, okay, we're going to call that this, we're going to call this that, we're going to call that that, and that has allowed us to acquire a great deal of knowledge that has allowed us to better understand the universe. So I'm not, pissing all over it and saying, well, that was a waste of time. It wasn't. But it needs to have the proper framework, the proper understanding, that everything that we observe and give names to and say is this and is that, it's my dog, and this is a speaker, and this is a beer can, and that's an atom, and this is a molecule, and these are all concepts that we draw around what is. They are all mental constructs. The inner experience, the illusion, part of it. And the reason why so many people have tried to talk about these truths, whether it be in Zen or in Christianity or in, all these different religions throughout the years, different monks of different orders and different holy people and noble people and people who just, got it because it just snapped to them. The reason why so many have been talking about it and writing about it and trying to convey it, and yet it never comes across, has everything to do with the fact that ask a linguist about how inbuilt the concept of subject-object is in our language, and therefore in everything, in how we think, in how we perceive the world. How do you have even the option to see the world in any other view than I'm me, and you're you, and that's that, and they're over there? How do you even have the possibility of having a mind that doesn't snap to those conclusions and doesn't perceive everything through that warped and mutated glass, through that particular lens, subject versus object, when all of our words are shaped around it? All of our words are built on the presumption, on the assumption, on the first conclusion that I am over here and you are over there. And there is space between us. All there is between you is the energy that you are made of. It's all water. It's all in the river. There's no separation. There's no space. The illusion is not a bad thing, and that's also like a sticking point for me. It's a reason why sometimes I look down on Zen and Zen practitioners these days. Is because so many people are coming out of Buddhism, are sort of on a path to try and escape samsara. They want to awaken and enlighten and then exit the what they call the cycle of birth and rebirth, reincarnation kind of stuff, and they acknowledge the existence of karma, they acknowledge the existence of enlightenment, but they seek enlightenment for the purpose of escaping from this perpetual existence, as though there's something to escape from. And it's the seeking to try and escape that actually keeps Zen practitioners from waking up. So they're trying to get away from something. There's nothing to get away from. There's nothing wrong about this experience. There's nothing wrong about it. It is exactly as it is meant to be. It couldn't be any other way. We are natural. Everything that has ever happened in the universe is connected to everything that has ever happened in the universe. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. There's nothing wrong with it. Wouldn't it be lovely if you could just enjoy it? Not be stressed out, and not be worried, and not be depressed, and not... And the thing is, not be depressed, and not be stressed out, and not be worried. Some people say the highest form of awakening is, there's a word for it that basically means not awakening. It translates from the Japanese or the Chinese or the Korean to, the highest form of awakening is not awakening, where awakening ceases to be a thing. Because the idea that, don't you want to not have to suffer, that needs to disappear in the end. Don't you want to not have to feel this way? Why not? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with feeling anger? What's wrong with feeling sadness, with depression, with suffering, with crying over the loss of someone. What's wrong with any of it? Put in the proper perspective, this is just a glorious experience that we should be so fucking happy that we have chosen to have, or that we have been given, however you want to look at it. That we, the river, have chosen to experience ourselves from these perspectives, regardless of what comes around, comes down the path, comes from upstream, downstream that we have to deal with. This is... Why should it be a bad thing to feel these emotions, to feel these sorrows, to think these thoughts, to do any of it? We create our own suffering, we choose our own suffering. And where the teachings of Buddhism tend to say that suffering is brought about by desire, by your desire to, for things to be a certain way, and then they aren't a way. That's true. It's another Zen dichotomy. It's another Buddhist, yes and no kind of thing, because it's true. That's where our suffering comes from. We want things to be a certain way, and then they're not that way. And that's where we suffer. But at the same time, the pursuit of not wanting things to be a certain way, the pursuit of getting rid of desire, is stupid. Why would you get rid of desire? It's the experience that you're having right now. It's the nature of you, of sentient beings, why are you going to beat yourself and flog yourself and try and get rid of your wants and desires and dreams and hopes? All that needs to happen is for you to put them into perspective and recognize this is just an illusion. This is just fun. None of this is bad. None of this is wrong. Everything is lovely. Everything is great. Everything is fun when you're part of a team. So many Zen people trying to basically kill their selves. Kill their identities off. Destroy themselves. Burn themselves until there is nothing left that they may pass as the vapors from a stick of incense into eternity and no longer suffer the cycle of samsara, birth and re-death. I need to escape this prison that I have imagined to be. There's no escape from this prison. Not because there is no escape from this prison, but because there is no prison. You have imagined a prison, you have imagined yourself a prisoner. Imagine yourself the warden, imagine yourself unlocking yourself, and then imagine yourself bulldozing the fucking prison, and then live in that world. That is your power. That is your birthright as a human being. As a sentient being. Major Duxelberth says, how about we are the mirrors the universe looks into? I don't know that I've ever heard that one. We are the mirrors the universe looks into. Here's one that I like from my favorite comedian of all time, Bill Hicks. I am the imagination of myself, experiencing myself subjectively. That's true. That's true, and it's a beautiful way to say it. On the Edge says, I get what you were saying, but I think there might be more importance in the random circumstance that is an individual than you seem to imply there is. Well, as I say, there's nothing random, and yet it's all random. There's nothing random to it. That's the thing, is Zen practitioners, I think, what I'm hearing from you is the idea that, identity is important, that it's part of this experience, that regardless of what the universal truth is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like regardless of what the universal truth is, this is the experience I'm having. So it means something to me. This body, this skin, this identity that I'm carrying around with me is what I have, and so it matters to me. And what I think matters to me, regardless of whether, yes, it is all an illusion because my eyes don't see the truth. I only perceive it through my mind, which is through the organs, and then through the brain, and then through the fog of, your brain will wither and deteriorate if you're lucky enough to live long enough, or lucky enough to have a condition that comes on early. Yes, that may all be true, but this is the experience I'm having, so it matters. And you know, that's exactly where I'm coming from too, with all the with the Zen practitioners who are trying to flog themselves to death, who are trying to destroy their personal, their I am selves, their small individual selves, just trying to get rid of it. Just, I can't, no, it's gotta go. It's gotta be away. I gotta get clear. I gotta see clearly. I gotta be Buddha. I gotta be clean. I gotta be... Your desire to gotta be anything is gonna stop you from getting there, number one. Number two, it's just, it's wrong. Like, this experience, if I'm reading you right on the edge, is exactly, that's where I'm coming from with it too. This experience is natural. You are natural. What you are experiencing and how you're experiencing it is natural. You know? For me, all that really needs to happen for everyone is to have the experience and put what reality is in the proper context. Not change the way that we interact with it, not think a certain way or start praying to a god or try and, you know, destroy ourselves so that we can be free of the ego and pass from this hellscape of samsara into an eternity of peace, the foot of Buddha in his garden. Like, the foot of Buddha in his garden is a metaphor for waking up in this life to the fact that this is heaven, and this is hell. This is the prison you make it, and this is the resort beach holiday you make it. Heaven's right here, it's in your mind. Hell's right here, it's in your mind. This experience is not worth nothing. This experience is very important. You know, it's what you have right now. Whether there's a reason for it or not, it's what you have right now. So I see people trying to run from it, and I'm like, the attempt to run from it means that it will always be with you. Right, might as well make the most of it, says On the Edge. Yeah. Yeah. I just wish I could find some people who understood. That said, I live about 1.5 miles from the Detroit Zen Center, where I am right now, and haven't been back in a while. Well, haven't been back at all since I moved into the area. And I have to say, it's mainly fear. It's mainly like just not wanting to. I don't know that yeah, it's fear. It comes down to fear, but it's really just not wanting to have to deal with a certain person. As far as I know, is still there and more in charge by each day. You know, and it's just inconvenient. I'd love to go see my Zen master. I'd love to go sit with Sunam and just talk and kind of flout my ego in his face and see what he thinks of that. Because when I was in the Zen Center, you know, I was the good little, well, I wasn't the good little student. That's why they kicked me out of the Zen Center to some extent. But I had a different, I was doing a different thing. I was trying to control, I was trying to learn, I was following what they were teaching. I was following what my Zen master said to do, which included stop fucking thinking your way out of every hole, just like be, just like, why do you have to be the smartest person in the room? Why do you have to have all the answers? Why can't you just say, I don't know, when you don't know, and maybe even when you do know? Just because you can. You can. It's a little trick that you might not have picked up on if you've never sat on a meditation mat, if you've never acknowledged the fact that you are not your mind. You can know the answer to something, someone asks you about it, you know. God, I got this, I don't know, there might be something wrong with my RAM. You have any idea? Because this is what it's doing. Just say, I don't know. Even though you do know. You know exactly the thing. But you can do that. You say, well, that sounds like a dick move. If you know, you should tell them. You don't have to. You don't have to be the person who knows everything. You don't have to think that you know everything. But like, the most important part of that experience of, like, deciding to just say, I don't know, even when you do know, is finally suddenly realizing that you don't have to follow what your brain says. Someone asks you a question, and the first thing you want to do is show off, like, my knowledge. Oh, I know all these things. Oh, I know about that. I'll tell you what. Here's what you need. You gotta get yourself a bit driver, and then with a quarter, then it's quarter inch. Then you just sort of load into it. You don't even, like, you never even perceive that you have the option. At least this was my experience. Never even perceived that you had the option of just saying, I don't know. Not my field. I'm just letting it be. That's the power. That's the power that's in you when you realize that you are not your thoughts. This was fun. I liked this better than playing the game. I don't know how it is that I, like, lose my mind and can't hold the data and the information in my head. Livestream died again, just as I was doing the outro. Thanks for letting me talk. Thanks for sticking around for the last little bit of the Zen talk. What the hell's going on with this PC? Or with XSplit there. They'll probably push down a patch tomorrow that'll fix it. The net decided it didn't like his way of thinking. This is Jab764. Entirely possible. Jam, have you been here? Listen to all this nonsense I've been spouting? Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me. Any way the wind blows. I am the Ronin Pawn. We'll be back this Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern with probably missed 3 Exile, because this was kind of the day for that. I was just too into the old Pill Factorio back there. So, yeah, we'll get back to Missed 3 Exile this Sunday, and maybe my brain will hold together long enough for it. Yeah, I enjoy these puzzle games so much. It's just a damn shame that my cerebellum, the portion of this thing seems to be melting in all the pop rocks that I ate when I was a child. At least that's what it feels like. In any case, I am the Ronin Pawn. I will see you this Sunday at 4, or not. Hope to. Pawn out.